Greetings to all viewers of our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is about how we are creating the popular science project Glamping Observatory Ural Mars, and a little later we will start working on other popular science projects. And today in this video I want to share a bit more information about the project as well as answer frequently asked questions. And the first thing I would like to talk about is what investors will receive. I will try to explain this in the simplest and most accessible language, using examples. First of all, yes, what you get is profit, and let's get straight to the point. For example, let's say we need to raise 50 million for the project, and you, for instance, are the investor who fully invested the entire 50 million. So after you have invested, we create the project and start generating the first profits. From the moment we receive the first profit, you will receive exactly half of all the profits we make. That is, 50% of the profit will go to you until you have recouped your investment. In other words, once you have fully recovered your 50 million from that point on, you will receive 25% of the profits. For example, let's say we earned 100 million in a year, so 25 million or 25% would go to you. That profit goes to you, and accordingly, it's easy to see that if you're a micro investor, say you invested 1 million rubles, then everything is simply calculated based on that. It's the same principle, just in proportion to your share in the project. I think with this example I've managed to convey the idea as clearly and accurately as possible, and everything should be understandable. The next, second point, the investor has the right to sell their shares in the project after 3 years. That is, starting from the moment we begin to generate and receive profit. So after 3 years, the investor has the right to exit the project and sell their share. They can sell it either to us, we'll gladly buy it back, or to a third party. For example, to your friend. If they want to invest in the project and simply receive passive income, we offer that opportunity. And the main thing here, friends, is that you'll be able to sell your shares for at least twice as much and possibly even more than double. It will all depend on where we are in 3 years. Perhaps our project will grow and become large enough, and then we ourselves will gladly buy it back. Your shares could be worth 3 or 4 times more, so 3 to 4 times the original price. Third point, what will the investor receive? The investor will receive various interesting perks, such as possibly free accommodation. Why do I say possibly? It all depends on the amount you invest. What is definitely guaranteed are discounts, good discounts on accommodation and on using all the infrastructure that will be there. And third, there will be various VIP tickets to the events we will hold as part of our project. As you know, if you know and have watched, we will be holding various seminars and conferences with invited scientists and astronauts, and we will also try to organize large festivals once a year. Something similar to Burning Man, but for example in a Star Wars style. Yes, so in 2026 we'll do it in a Star Wars style, in 2027 we'll do it in a Dune style, for example, something like that. And accordingly, all our investors, they will constantly receive interesting perks and gifts as participants in our project. And the fourth, which is no less interesting, concerns our development plan. Yes, at a certain stage we plan to launch a second and third glamping site with a science popular theme and then package them. All of this will be turned into a franchise. And accordingly, all our partners, all our investors who participate in the project, they will also be able to act as agents for selling the franchise and earn quite good money from this as well. In this way, the project will scale quickly through franchising. A person who is our partner who promotes and sells this franchise will earn very good money. Believe me, friends, very good dividends. They will earn a good profit from the sales. So, friends, I think that by investing in us, you not only get the opportunity to earn well, and yes, you also get the chance to become part of this interesting project, and who knows, maybe our Glamping Observatory project will grow into a large scientific research and educational tourist base. And in the future, new glamping sites with new exciting scientific concepts may appear. And in the future, we might really expand into an entire network through franchising, and then it will become such an interesting, fascinating empire. Yes, an empire in the world of science tourism. So overall, I think that maybe someone will want not just to become an investor, but to actually support this project. not with the goal of making money, but to be involved in something new, something interesting, to be part of the world of science tourism. And together with us, to keep developing further and accordingly for those who are already familiar with our project. I think now you have a more detailed understanding of what an investor will receive. Yes, and with this new clear information, I think you'll be able to draw your own conclusions. For those who are not familiar with our project, there is a link below the video to our project and our website. You can go, follow the link, get acquainted, study it, and if this project resonates with you, if our values and our concept appeal to you, then on the website you can register in your personal investment account, log into your personal account, and then invest any amount that is convenient and comfortable for you. We use a crowd investing format, so you can start investing with as little as $100. And from there, it's entirely up to you. You can invest $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, or even $10,000. Basically, it all depends on your desires and capabilities. Now, let's talk about what a franchise is. I often mention in various conferences and presentations that we plan to expand through franchising. Yes, I know for sure that not everyone understands what it is or even how it works in general. The question arises, what is it? Why do you want to expand through franchising? What advantages does it offer? And why did you choose this path in the first place? And here I want to first explain what a franchise is. Again, using an example, let's use ourselves as an example. Right now, we're at the stage where we're working out the financial model in detail. Yes, meaning everything needs to be calculated in detail. We need to figure out what the expenses are, what the profit will be, what we get out of it, and how much we'll spend on building the glamping site, how much we'll spend on infrastructure, how much we'll spend on professional equipment like telescopes, VR, a special room, and so on. The second point is this. We spend a lot of time searching for various partners, where to order from, which contractors to use, and so on. Third, we are creating a recognizable brand. It's a big job to create a project that will be recognizable and interesting to people. Fourth, we are directly developing the legal infrastructure. Fifth, we are building up a client base. Sixth, we are creating a unique concept. Seventh, right now we are at the development stage. This very futuristic capsule, something no one has done before us. And that's why we even have to turn to engineers who develop specific mechanisms, components, and fastenings for us. And so on. In this capsule, it's all quite a big job. Accordingly, when we go through this entire process and successfully launch our first project, build the infrastructure, and create the Glamping Observatory, this will already be a functioning, successful business, a solid project with a clear financial model, an established foundation, and later a recognizable brand, and so on. After this stage, we will have a substantial foundation behind us, knowing how all of this is done, how everything is created. We will have all the necessary contractors, we will understand how to create these futuristic capsules, and by then we will already have our own production for these futuristic capsules. And at this particular stage, there are several different possible paths for development, and one of those paths is to take all of this and carefully package it together. For instance, in a single case where absolutely all of the important documents, every piece of technology, all of the detailed blueprints, the entire client database, and our brand itself will be securely stored together. So all of this is in one place in a suitcase, and therefore you, as a potential partner, maybe an investor or entrepreneur who wants to launch a similar project, you have two options. Either come to us and simply buy this ready-made suitcase, where together with you we will create a second science popular project, select a location with you, we will build the infrastructure, create these capsules for your project, yes, the futuristic capsules, and fully transfer to you all our developed technologies. That's your first option. The second option is that you can go your own way and go through the entire process yourself, going through everything we went through, but believe me, you'll spend a lot of money, a lot of resources, and a lot of time, whereas here we hand over a fully ready business to you. And so we simply become partners with you and continue to move forward and grow together as partners. This is essentially the development model through franchising. The second model is that we simply take our own money and with our own resources we start creating a second project, Glamping or a Glamping Observatory or another science popularization project. Then we start creating a third project, a fourth project, but all of this will be difficult. Why is it difficult? Because first of all, we will be spending our own resources, constantly expanding the staff, and all of this needs to be managed. That is, we need to have some kind of centralized management body. This is a different model. It is also viable, but it has its own pros and cons. But we still chose to go the franchise route, where we will scale up with partners, with our future potential partners. And this option seems more optimal and interesting to us, and it allows the business to scale quickly. So now, to answer the question again, why did we choose this particular approach? I've already mentioned some of the advantages. Why did we decide to go with franchising? And the second important advantage is the fact that we are now developing through a crowd investing model, and we already have a very large base of our partners, our brand ambassadors, our community. Yes, it's already large, and most importantly, it's international. And accordingly, with such a large international community, expanding through franchising will be much faster and easier, because we won't have to look for any salespeople or agents to handle the sales and promotion of your franchise, since we already have them. Yes, we already have a large community that is ready to take on this work. That's the first thing. Second, we won't have to figure out how to enter another country, how to enter Vietnam, how to enter China, or say Belarus. Yes, for example, how to enter Mongolia, because we already have people from those countries. And accordingly, it's enough for us to reach out to the community we already have in a given country. And it's even possible to start building the third, fifth, or 10th project in that country together with them, together with this community. And this already allows us, at the stage of packaging the franchise, to start scaling not only within our own country, but to immediately enter the international market. That's why it's a great strength, a huge advantage, and to be honest, I don't know why entrepreneurs don't use this tool. It would seem that it's just lying there. It's right there in the palm of your hand. There are cases, interesting ones, that confirm this. For example, there's the X100 Sushi Master project. They also launched the development and scaling of the project through franchising and a crowd investing model. That is, you could both invest in Sushi Master and promote the project by selling the franchise. In doing so, they built a large community, sharing agency fees, commissions, and referral rewards. And so, using this model, in just a few years, they grew to 200 to 300 locations worldwide. I think this is a really cool case, and I don't understand why other entrepreneurs aren't repeating it. As you already know, we have a large community, and accordingly, this franchise-based development model fits perfectly with our concept and our project development plan. Now, I would like to share more information about our roadmap, that is the project development plan. Here is the first stage that we are currently going through. We are implementing the first popular science project, Glamping Observatory. Ural Mars, our goal is to build the first experimental capsule by the end of the year, and possibly even the first capsule that will be installed on Mars by the summer of next year. Our goal is to move to the location and fully set up 10 capsules and build all the necessary infrastructure. And already in the summer, or by the end of summer, to be fully operational and welcome our first guests. After we complete the first project, we will begin implementing the second popular science project, the second glamping site. And this one will have a different theme. It could be a mycology glamping site. It will be related to mushrooms in a kind of fantasy style, yes, but it will also be a popular science project. It could be a project related to diving, underwater research, underwater archaeology, and even glamping. We allow for the possibility that the glamping could be either partially or fully underwater. We already have a rough idea of how to make this happen. So once we implement the second project, we will move on to the third project. And after we have completed 3 projects, 3 popular science projects, by then we will have gained extensive experience, developed a solid foundation, established our own production, and built a recognizable brand. At that stage, we will start packaging ourselves as a franchise, and once we have done that, we will begin scaling our project not only within the country, but also worldwide. Yes, but we've already talked about what a franchise is, and I think you now have more information and understanding. How everything is set up, and most importantly, what scale can be achieved. Now I want to go over some frequently asked questions. We've gathered about 3, 4, 5, 6, roughly 10 questions here, and now I'll comment on them. The first question is, how safe is the site location? Yes, here we're talking about the Ural Mars, since that's what we're currently working on. So just how safe is it? In fact, we approached this question thoroughly and took samples of water and soil to submit for analysis and get a detailed result. Is it safe there? And in general, what is it made of? What is its chemical composition? Well, what is it? We also tested the chemistry of the local water for bacteria, various fungi, worms, and so on. And in fact, based on this, we can conclude that yes, it is unsafe to swim or drink the water there. And honestly, given the current state of our environment, even on our own plots, yes, we dig wells. And when we have it analyzed, it turns out that this water is not really suitable because it contains a high amount of various impurities like iron and so on. That's why it's unsafe to drink the water, but being near the water or even boating on it is completely safe. Why am I talking about water? Because here on the Ural Mars, we have an entire lake like that. It's red with that kind of shade. Although I have seen people swimming there sometimes, that's something you shouldn't do either. Now, regarding the soil, as for the soil, well, as long as you don't roll around in it or, I don't know, bake pies out of it, it's certainly safe too. So it's safe to be there, safe to walk around, safe to set up a tent, and safe to live there for a while. So overall, this location is safe. There is absolutely no radiation there. Another frequently asked question is whether there is any radiation there. In fact, at this quarry, they simply mined fire clay and didn't use any chemicals. So this isn't a location that was contaminated from the start during extraction. When they mine copper or gold, they use chemicals, but here nothing like that was used. And I think I've answered the question. For those who want to dive deeper, we have a video about the results. Be sure to watch the video about this, and also in our investment personal account there is a section called Documents. There the full file is also available for download. It contains the results, the laboratory results of this analysis that was conducted. Next, what kind of infrastructure will the first Glamping Observatory project have? First of all, there will be a room fund. Yes, residential capsules, these futuristic living capsules. Second, we will have a large geodesic dome which will house a VR room, a large corporate telescope, and a conference hall. And possibly a small museum as well. Next, third, there will be a food truck set up to provide our guests with meals, as well as for those visitors who just come to Ural Mars. There will definitely be a food truck for that, and maybe, just maybe, even more than one food truck. The very first thing that will be set up at Ural Mars, so what will we do next? 4. There will be various infrastructure elements with installations and photo zones. 5. There will be trekking trails, both short ones, about 3 kilometers, and longer ones, up to 10 kilometers, circling the entire Mars area. Well, basically that's what will be the main features, but in reality we have a lot of ideas. Right now we want to add to our business model, to our financial plan. Also, there will be a spa complex, but the spa complex will be unusual as well. We don't want to create just another typical bathhouse or hot tub, After all, our base is on Mars. It's simulated, so the spa will include things like flotation therapy and a cryo chamber. And no, not the kind of cryo chamber where you're frozen forever with the hope of being thawed out in 200, 500 or 1,000 years. No, it's the thing you step into and you're frozen with nitrogen. Literally for 10 seconds your cells stop. So your whole body freezes completely and then suddenly returns to normal. It's actually very beneficial for your health. So be sure to look into it and even try it out in your free time. I think some of you probably have these around. In your cities, all of this is kind of unconventional, futuristic. I think there should be a spa complex like that there as well. Moving on. So, what are the support service contacts? Where can people reach you? Well, basically you can go to the website linked below in the description. Yes, we also have a Telegram channel and social media accounts, and you can find the support service contact information there as well. You can write to our support service to propose a partnership, ask questions, or get in touch with me through the support team. I'm always open to dialogue and ready to talk or meet if you have a good idea or proposal. So, get my contact through the support service, and as for where you can follow the project's progress, again, I'll repeat, we have social media accounts and we actively run our YouTube channel. Right now you're watching either on YouTube or we post and duplicate all our videos, including on vKontakte video. You can follow us there. We also offer an active Telegram group in Russian and a multilingual group for our community in various languages. And we also have WhatsApp groups, but only in French and Vietnamese. When can I sell my shares? I've talked about this before, but I'll repeat it once again. You have the right to sell your shares after 3 years at a price significantly higher than what you are paying now. Where is Ural Mars located? Ural Mars is located in the Sverdlovsk region near the city of Bogdanovich. It's about an hour and a half drive from Yekaterinburg. Right now, they are building a highway there, the federal Yekaterinburg-Tyumen highway, and it passes right next to Ural Mars. That's why I think that once the highway is finished, you'll probably be able to get there in about 40 minutes. Because it will be a one-way road with 2 lanes, it will be pretty fast, and for us it means additional traffic. Next, the first project is the Glamping Observatory Mars. Yes, indeed, the first project will be the Glamping Observatory Mars. We are already working on this and at the same time starting to develop other concepts as well. The first project will be the Glamping Observatory. As for whether the projects have any backing, look here. 85% of all investment funds will go towards the production of residential futuristic capsules and the acquisition of physical assets such as a telescope, equipment, capsules. In other words, all the infrastructure that will be inside the capsule. The acquisition of physical assets, yes, so all of this will be put on the project's balance sheet. And 85% of the money will go towards this, while 15% will be used for salaries, for some marketing campaigns, things like that. When I start receiving the first income from the investment, you will also start receiving your first income. I think that in a year or maybe even sooner, as I mentioned earlier, yes, our goal is to build the first project by next summer and already start welcoming guests. After we finish construction and welcome our first guests, there should be a period of time. It should be 3 months, a quarter, and after that you will start receiving your first profits. In fact, it's actually quite fast. I think a lot of people watching me are already involved in crowd investing and invest in various projects. You know very well that sometimes it takes 3, 5, or even an uncertain number of years before you start seeing any profit. But in our case, we have a clear project, a clear financial model, and we can predict when we will start receiving our first income. That's why the first income will come, I would even say, soon compared to other startups. What is the distribution of shares, percentages? The total number of shares issued, that is 100%, is 11 billion. For implementation through crowd investing, we have allocated 25%. That's 2,750,000,000 shares, and we also have 5% set aside as a reserve. Here's a nuance to consider. This reserve will either be used to attract additional investments when we sell all 25% and realize we need a bit more funding, then these 5% will be offered. Or if we see that 25% is enough for us, in other words, we've sold 25% and the money we've received is sufficient for us, we will simply distribute these 5% among all our investors and partners. Partners are not just investors. They include those who are actively involved in promotion, active leaders, and people who have contributed something to the project. Yes, these are leaders who help popularize us, promote us, and post about us on their YouTube channels among active partners. So these 5% will be distributed among everyone. Next, what document does the investor receive? The investor receives a digital investment agreement. It's similar to an international safe agreement. This is an investment agreement concluded using an electronic digital signature. So, when you make an investment in your personal account in the document section, you can download your document. Yes, for the investment you made. Next, what are the investment terms? I've already talked about this today, so I won't repeat myself, but basically, we've covered all the main questions. Now, in conclusion, friends, I'd like to share my favorite quote. once said by Konstantin Eduardovich Tsiolkovsky, the father of astronautics. New ideas need to be supported. Not many people have such courage, but it is a very precious quality in people. So, friends, support us, support other entrepreneurs who are building something new, creating innovations and new technologies. Let's move this world forward together. That's all. Take care, everyone.